One of them wanted to be the security guy. He claimed he was a security guy.
Welcome to Security Guy Ready. What's your name?
Hi, Chuck. My name is Bob Damrau. I work for Neveda Solar Designs.
And what does Nevada Solar Designs do?
Nevada Solar Designs is a veteran-owned small business that we do power solutions for industrial applications. Today we're here at ISC with our aligned manufacturing partner, CSIS. We do the power for those folks.
And what does CSIS do that you need power for?
CSIS is a manufacturer of wireless security camera applications. Their products are focused on rapid deployment, filling the security void where you need to get an answer and visibility and camera and wireless out to a remote site where special events, that type of
interesting. Okay, so Coachella Valley concert or
exactly.
Natural disaster or something like that?
Exactly. And one of the things that we do is we add extra capacity to their system by providing a platform where we can power that camera equipment for longer episodes than what they have a backup battery in their system that'll give them 10 hours.
Right.
But a lot of events that you're going to deploy, especially temporary events, emergency events, those type of things, you need to have eyes on the scene for more than that 10-hour period that their battery will handle. So our rapid deployment solar plant or a fuel cell application are typical of what we're providing those
So you
customers.
manufacture them, then you partner with them to integrate. Now, do you do integration? In other words, does your battery have to work with their software on their camera and all that kind of stuff?
No. We're agnostic, if you will. We're the power guys. So we're providing them the power so that their products can do the job that they need to do.
Well, sometimes some people write stuff that's proprietary, right? So they try to keep things from working in other systems, but yours is going to work across all platforms.
Ours is a very transparent system. We're there to provide that power resource that's needed for the operational scenario.
Now, is there any other partners you guys work with, or is this your main one?
We have several people that we work with at this show. CSIS is the company that's very strong with us working. We do a lot of their power solutions, so they've been very cordial about putting our products in their booth and showing those to the public as part of their message.
Do you use any military applications? I mean, they get deployed out in the field for that kind of stuff?
It could be. Typically, what we do is we try to keep the military and the government at arm's length so that we have somebody between us.
Not a bad idea.
So usually there's an integrator or a VAR that works between us as the power
the
provider
integrator, okay, right.
and the government and contract.
Now, when you say rapid deployment, how fast and how big a system can you put up?
The system we have here today with their torch camera and their wireless torch camera can be deployed out of the back of a pickup truck. So as opposed to some of the platforms you'll see here at the show where you're pulling a trailer or or it's a fixed application, this platform can not only be deployed out of the back of a pickup truck, but it can be put out in a remote hinterland and survive heavy winds, snow, the weather, the environment, et cetera, but for smaller loads. So you're not dragging a trailer out there, you're powering something that's in that 20-watt, 25-watt range.
Now, what's going on with the battery business? Because these damn batteries in my recording equipment, they say they're the best, and they die in 5 hours, and I'm out of luck. But we talk about batteries that say military applications in the last 10 years. What's the real dope? How long do your batteries last on some kind of setup like this?
Typical of with the solar industry
right.
and the fuel cell industry, lead-acid batteries, valve-regulated lead-acid batteries, either AGM or gel are the typical batteries that are going to be used in those scenarios. They survive the deep cycling. They have long shelf lives to them so that they will be deployed out into the field, and they basically sit out there unattended for years at a time.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Because the solar keeps just recharging.
Exactly.
Oh,
the way the system is designed is the solar platform is looking at statistical analysis data and taking your load, the duty cycle of your load, and the location into analysis to say, okay, here's how much power I have to provide, and I'm going to get this much by statistics recharge from the solar array or the fuel cell. The fuel cell works on a cartridge system where you're replacing it with methanol, so it's not like a funny car.
Right.
Uses the same fuel, and it changes that through a membrane and produces electricity to maintain a battery, which is what your equipment runs on.
Now, if you stick one of these out in Area 51, let's say,
okay,
and it sits out there for 5 or 6 years, is it on the grid? Is it on the network? Can you ping it, see it's there, see what's going on with it?
The wireless piece of their application, you can certainly see the site and see the equipment that's running, et cetera.
Right.
And frankly, most times, it really doesn't pay for customers to watch the power side, because if the power goes away, you're going to know it.
I see. You're going to know it. Okay, all right.
So, and that's really the communication link. Now, I've had customers ask me for that. That's certainly something that can be done. And really, in the fuel cell, it helps for that because you're looking at bringing a cartridge out to the site.
If it's aging, you might know.
Exactly. And then you can justify the amount of time that that cartridge will sit out in the remote. But know that sometimes the extra feedback helps because the load can change depending upon what your power.
Right. Now,
So-
how long, how much juice does something like that generate?
Well, the fuel cell that we have over here will provide 240 watts at 12 volts of power. That's 20 amps of recharge to run equipment off of and to maintain that battery. Now,
Can I run a Tesla on that?
I'm sorry?
Can I run a Tesla?
Can I run a Tesla?
No, that's not enough. All right, just trying to
but
put
I'm
some
sure
real
if
life.
Elon's interested, I'll be glad to talk to him about it, okay? He's one of my, I'm a fan of Elon.
Oh, he's kind of a smart guy with that battery thing.
I happen to think he's very intelligent. He's done a lot for aligning his business models.
Interesting.
We know the Solar City guys very well, and we're from Reno.
Oh, Solar City, they're the big residential group, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And that's an Elon Musk company.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
As well as Tesla, as well as
Yeah.
SpaceX, as well as the Gigafactory that's for making the batteries.
They put that thing on the side of your house that it's like a skinny battery, and it switches to battery after you charge your house.
And
Okay.
that's really what's going to change the big grid and how we get power. Today, everything we get comes from some sort of power plant that we send through
Right.
lines and et cetera, and it comes into your house through a panel, okay? What we're going to do is he's taking that model, reversing it using solar, maintaining batteries, and creating a charge network for EVTs, electric vehicles, running the house, et cetera, et cetera. So he's changing that whole business platform of how power is generated at either a commercial business or at a residential level.
So if my neighbor, soccer mom Nicole, has a bunch of money and wants to buy one of these, can she plug it in and use it as an emergency power source in her house?
She could, or actually live off of the battery charge at night when the sun goes down. And that's the real idea.
Okay, makes sense. Like the Solar City does. Okay.
Right.
Right.
And Solar City is changing their model. Before they were strictly lease and grid.
Right.
But today they're changing that model so that they're bringing in the battery and the storage piece of it.
I think this is fascinating stuff. You don't hear much about battery applications in security. You hear about the little battery inside your alarm box that goes dead all the time, and you got to go to Radio Shack and buy another one and say, "Why did this die?" "Oh, I'm Radio Shack. I don't know." That's why they're going out of business. But this is high stuff. How long have you guys been making this stuff?
I've been doing the business for 10, 12 years. I've been in the solar off-grid industrial application business. Nevada Solar Designs has been doing this for about 3 years. It's a fairly young company.
Oh, really?
We changed our model. Originally, it was a company that did nothing more than commodity on-sale line for solar products. We changed that to provide solutions for customers, because really that's where the real business proposition is successfully relieving the pain of a customer and their mission
Right.
and their operational scenario.
Are we at a turning point with this technology now? It's that good that we can start making it cheaper, getting it out there more.
Sure,
Because a lease
well-
on a house is not exactly cheap.
Well, the price of solar has never been cheap. Okay?
That's true. It is.
Now, today, in an industrial aspect, there's two segments of the solar industry. Most people know it from the grid side, where you're pumping power back to the grid, where you're generating power in megawatts
Yeah.
of power for the grid. What we do is primarily transparent to the grid, where you're deploying where there is no power, or the power
All right,
is
okay.
unreliable.
Yeah.
And now there's a difference in the products that you use for that type of stuff. A lot of companies will try to use the modules that you would use in a grid-tied application for an off-grid application. There's a lot of reasons why, component structure-wise, why you don't want to do
This is
that.
industrial strength stuff. If you're going to leave it out there
Exactly.
5 years, it's
And
gotta
that's the idea.
self-sufficient. Yeah.
Exactly.
Let's take a look at one of those boxes over there.
Sure, absolutely. So this platform here that we had is what we were talking about, being able to deploy out of the back of a pickup truck.
Yeah, little box.
This system has a pre-wired battery installed. You can actually put 2 batteries in here if you wanted to. Whoops, sorry.
Now that doesn't look very big, but it generates a lot of juice.
That's a 110 amp hour battery.
Huh.
Okay. That system there is a 12 watt load.
Okay.
So, being maintained with the solar array, deploying this system out in the field, you typically are going to get 3 days of operation without any significant recharge.
Wow.
So, from a deployment standpoint, something in an emergency scenario, law enforcement where they're watching
Yeah.
something,
Right.
special events, etc. It's a perfect opportunity there for you to be able to go out and put equipment and power on the fly, if you will.
So now, as an installation, do you drop the power box and then your partner here, CSIS, comes in and puts in the camera, or is it integrated and go out together?
Actually, typically what happens here is they're the manufacturer of that product and they're selling it to a VAR or an integrator. Same thing, we're relieving the pain part of the power part for that VAR and their integrator. So now they have that turnkey solution they can provide. The other piece that you see below here is a Mobotics camera. Mobotics is one of the vendors that's here in the show. Also another vendor that we spend a lot of time with and do a lot of support from the power side. Mobotics is a German company. CSIS is an English company, a UK company. They do their integration and manufacturing overseas, bring it into the country, and then provide that as project solutions.
I'm glad to see a lot of integration. I mean, I've been coming to As Is and these things for, I don't know, 20 years, right? Mm-hmm. And before, nobody worked together. Now everybody's working together. Right. They have that OMFIF, which is an organization that sets standards on cameras and access control, and they say, if you belong to our group, we know that all your stuff's going to work, so we test it all. Right. And they're competitors, all of them, right? Mm-hmm. But they work together to make standards work. It's kind of cool.
Right. And really, that's the real mission is getting the right solution to the customer for their operational scenario.
Right.
And frankly, that's where we focus our attention, is providing the right answers so that they know that when they go out to do this, that they bought and they're going to get the return on their investment for that. The other piece that we do and we work with CSIS for is a rapid deployment fuel cell application.
All right.
This
now,
one happens to
dumb this down for me. Battery, fuel cell, two different things.
Yeah, absolutely.
And why is that?
Fuel cell is the recharge mechanism.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so instead of solar or grid power that you use in a battery backup system or something like that, now you're using a fuel cell, and we're using methanol as the fuel cartridge.
And it generates electricity internally.
And it goes through a membrane.
I was wondering what that is. And that's what the
electricity.
car technology is, fuel cells.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly. And this is a product that's made by a company in Germany called SFC. They have their North American clients are a company called Cymark, and who has provided this product. This, if you will, is a Cadillac.
It looks like a thermonuclear device to me, but
this is the type of a platform where you were talking about military customers before.
Yeah, it looks like
where they have to drop something out of a plane in a parachute,
right.
etc. You can put this on a skid, strap it to a skid, push it out the back of a C-130, and now you have power out in the middle of nowhere to be able to do that.
That looks like more power than the other box. What are we talking about? What, can we run a house, run a camp?
No, it's got the same battery in it.
Oh, I see. So eventually this battery is the size of the holding device.
Exactly.
But the mechanism and how it charges is just different.
Exactly.
Okay.
This is...
You know what I like about this? You can lock it up, right?
Absolutely.
And nobody can mess with it.
Absolutely.
I can break the solar panel, but this I really can't touch it.
The solar panels, they're pretty rugged.
Okay.
And obviously our enclosures, you can lock them up. And actually this system would be flipped. Normal application would be the enclosure and the battery down low, and the solar above it.
For the sun,
So it's actually shading the enclosure and helping out the batteries that are inside for heat and that type of a thing. So it's set up this way today just for the show.
Now, if I want to buy one of these babies, because that's what I would buy, I buy the best one of everything, right? What's that going to cost me?
Again, this is a Cadillac, so this one's probably about $18K.
You know what? That does not sound expensive to me.
Well,
I was thinking it's going to cost $50,000.
No,
that's not too bad.
About $18K, and the only thing that's consumable in this is the fuel cartridges. Now these can go on a plane.
Because they're not
UPSable.
Oh no, that's interesting. I was wondering about that. So, I have very good friends who are Prius drivers. Don't send me any letters. Well, send me letters. I don't care. Prius drivers, you know what I'm talking about. They're a little different, right? And my neighbor says, "Oh well, I have a Prius and you have a Suburban and you waste." And I said, "Okay, but who do you call to take all the kids to the baseball game? You would need 3 Priuses, right? And not only that, but what am I going to do with all your battery stuff? Because it's toxic. Was I wrong about that?"
You're not far off base, and actually I think that's an opportunity that's going to come around because the mass market says, okay, we need to change the platform, we need to make it more economical, get farther away from fuel.
Right.
So you start to create hybrid solutions. Some of them are actually using a fuel cell type approach.
So if we say fuel cell, that's a very industry specific. Oh, it's a generic term.
It's a pretty generic term.
I mean, a Prius is not a fuel cell. Prius is a battery, but I don't know that unless I know
it's the stuff inside that keeps that Prius running. That's the fuel cell component.
And that could be toxic or not.
It could be.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I'm trying to remember. Toyota is one of the companies that actually has that hybrid type process, and that's the Prius, right?
Yeah,
Is
Prius,
that right? They use a different system for fuel than a methanol cartridge, and I can't remember what those are, or a straight electric charge. So they actually have some production that's going on inside of the vehicle to maintain the batteries that the
it's
car is
amazing
running
technology.
off.
I'm just fascinated.
And it's an evolving picture.
Yeah.
Every day is something new. Every day is someone new trying something else and evolving
So
it.
hydrogen is an option for fuel cell.
Hydrogen is what the Toyota folks use
Okay,
in
interesting.
theirs,
All right.
as opposed to methanol. So now you have that conversion piece in the hydrogen and some flammability.
I'm just thinking Hindenburg. I'm thinking I don't want hydrogen in a fuel cell. What do I know?
Well,
So-
and these are very, again, they use these in funny cars. Same thing that you would use in a funny car.
Oh, interesting.
But you can put it on an airplane. So this is a fairly hefty piece. This is 28 liters of fuel that's in that cartridge, and there's 2 of them in here. This system alone, in running this torch unit, could probably sit out in the field for about a year or so without having to come out.
Just
and-
locked up and running something.
Locked up, running away without anybody touching it, looking at it.
I would think that would be. I understand it's a commercial application. Have you guys thought about going into the residential market?
Well, there's a lot of stakeholders in that residential market that have a lot more money invested.
Yeah.
And again, you're looking at limited capacity, and you're
But I
also
mean-
looking at a consumable in the fuel cell. The fuel cell has a life cycle to it.
Yeah.
The batteries
I gotta
have life
replace and
cycle
that's
to it.
maintenance.
So that's a part of the puzzle
Yeah.
that starts to factor into what that ROI
So
would be.
this looks like I could run a few pup tents in a military operation or
Oh yeah, absolutely.
construction site or something like that.
This system will provide you 240 watts of recharge. So that's 20 amps at 12 volts. So there's a lot of stuff that work
Yeah.
very fine. And it doesn't kick on until the battery gets to a certain level, and then it's just maintaining that battery.
It doesn't really make any noise. A couple fans
Doesn't make
in there.
a sound.
Not
And
like
actually,
a gas generator.
this one is, the reason that there's fans in here is that this is set up so that it can go into very cold environments. Minus 20 degrees Fahrenheit is
Wow.
not a problem. So projects in Antarctica, matter of fact, we just quoted a system solution for a company for Antarctica for
Yeah.
one of the stations down there for weather monitoring. And this was part of that scenario. This particular unit wasn't, but the fuel cell technology was part of that design. So, but again, this is very military grade, if you will, very high-end consumer grade.
Any competitors in this space? Don't name them, but I'm saying I haven't seen a lot of this stuff.
There are some other approaches, but this is the only company that I'm aware of that uses methanol as the fuel cartridge and can be sent over an airplane and transport over ground transportation, stuff like that. And that's part of the issue, is the transportation of the product to get to the customer for the consumable piece of it.
I mean, I'm thinking if you live in the middle of, you got a cabin, a vacation house in the woods.
This is the way to go if you're going to do that.
Yeah, because then it's
this
smaller
is,
and just.
This is, if you will, the flexibility behind this system is that you don't have to rely on any other resources like the sun or the wind or to be able to maintain that battery and provide the power.
So if this is 18 grand, what's this one over here?
This whole system, short of the
cameras. I mean,
short of
power.
the camera, the solar plant, the rapid deployment platform, etc., around $2,500.
That's it?
Well, I should raise my prices. What you
I
say?
guess you should raise your prices. Well, I don't know. I talk to a lot of people. I learn a lot of different things, and that's why I love my job, right? Because I learn something new every time I do a show. Mm-hmm. I just assumed, 10 years ago that probably was $20,000, right? But technology's better, and it's amazing.
And if you look across from us, the guys at Wanco that have the trailers here,
Yeah.
they have solar as part of a recharge for their battery systems as well as a generator. They have a pop-up platform with lights, and you can put all sorts of stuff on it. You're looking at $50, $60, et cetera, dollars.
Well, it's like a Super Bowl parking lot thing or something. But,
Exactly.
But
they have their fit, and they're very much into a need for deployment.
Yeah.
But frankly, a lot of scenarios don't have that, and you don't need that to power that.
No, that's right. It's overkill. Yeah, I mean, that just looks like it fits in all kinds of applications.
Well, and this was designed specifically for this scenario, for a rapid deployment solution. The platform, and we've done all of the integration design work. This system will sit out in the field. We've tested it in the Sierras through winds and altitude and weather and all that other stuff. This will sit when it's ballasted. It uses water and calcium chloride solution, salt water, as the ballast, okay, for those areas where you need it.
Right.
We've had this platform sitting out in 40-mile-an-hour winds, never moved an inch without ballast in it.
Wow.
It'll do 80 to 100-mile-an-hour winds. You put ballast in it and it won't turn over. So again, from a rapid deployment scenario, the odds on running into 100-mile-an-hour winds aren't all that great. But you can take the same platform and put it on top of a flat roof building,
Right.
where you can't penetrate through. Now you have security for that parking lot that's down below. You have is wirelessly brought in, and it's all powered by itself. And it sits on the roof. You don't have to drill any holes, et cetera, et cetera. So,
Bob, fascinating. All right.
I appreciate that.
Let's get the sign. Here we go.
So again,
what is your sign? You don't have a sign.
I do not.
You got to have a sign. All right. Give us your plug for your company.
Oh, Neveda Solar Design. So we're in Reno. We take care of power provisioning across the West. We're very focused on customer projects, and we're there to solve their mission issues.
Website.
Oh, NevadaSolarDesigns.com.
All right, excellent. And this is your partner here?
CSIS.
All right.
And CSIS is a UK company, and that's how you'll find them, is CSIS.com.
All right, great. Bob, thanks for talking to us. Security Guy Radio.